welcome back YouTubers to another WWE vlog with me, Daniel Parkin. Today I'm going to be giving you my opinion on some of the news that's been going on in WWE this week. But before I do that, I want to give a bit of a plug to my good friend NJ, who has just started a blogger account. I think that's Google's version of a blog, and he's just started a blogger account on WWE. It's kind of similar to what he does on his Tumblr account, where he writes about wrestling, Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, writes about individual wrestlers and stuff like that, anything in the WWE. So I'll put that in the description box below or somewhere up here. Definitely check him out. He's a really good blogger about WWE. Also, make sure you subscribe up above if you like what I'm talking about, or if you like my videos. Make sure you like the video if you like what I'm talking about or like the topics I'm talking about, and don't be afraid to leave a comment in the comment section below if you have any thoughts on the topics that are being talked about in this video, or if you have any thoughts on my opinions on the topics. I'm also very open to video responses too. I'll generally be open to accepting video responses. Okay, so now on to the news. The first bit of news I have that was of interest to me was that the Road Warriors, or the Legion of Doom as they were known in the WWF, Animal and Hawk, even though we all know Hawk has passed away, obviously, they're going to be in the Hall of Fame, which is a really good thing for me. I mean, even though they were around before my time, I think Animal did come back for a brief run in WWE in 2007, I think, or 2008, I can't remember. But it's good to see a legendary tag team such as Road Warriors or Legion of Doom going into the Hall of Fame. As far as I know, they were a pretty, legit tag team. Two real good wrestlers, two real good guys in the business in the wrestling industry, and generally they're both seen as very credible to go into the Hall of Fame, and it's good to see someone like the Road Warriors in the Hall of Fame, especially this year when we had the announcements of, say, Drew Carey, which hasn't really added too much credibility to the Hall of Fame. If you have Road Warriors in there, it definitely adds a lot of credibility to the Hall of Fame instead of making us think it's a joke. We've also had Abdullah the Butcher in the Hall of Fame. I don't remember too much of him. I think he was past my time, but the main thing is the Road Warriors are now in the Hall of Fame, and that is a great thing. As far as I know, the reaction from the YWC has been pretty positive for this. A lot of people are very happy they're in the Hall of Fame, and so am I, really, because I do vaguely remember them as a tag team, and especially I do remember Animal when he did return to WWE, and I'll always remember their ring attire and stuff like that, and they were a brilliant tag team, so I'm glad they're in the Hall of Fame. It's a great thing, and it's going to be good this year. Who will induct them, though, we don't really know yet. But yeah, this induction, along with Shawn Michaels, adds a lot of credibility to the Hall of Fame, despite the people that we have had, like Drew Carey, not adding too much credibility to the Hall of Fame. So overall, a very good piece of news, this, in my opinion, and for the Hall of Fame as well. The other bit of news that caught my eye was that Mark Henry said he might retire in 18 months, although he says he has 3 years left in him. Mark Henry is a guy that's been in the company for a long time. We all know he's a great wrestler. We all know, and obviously with the amount of time he's been in WWE, he's obviously going to be great to have in the wrestling business. But he hasn't really done too much in the company. I mean, he's never had a world title, I don't think. He's had, one match of Undertaker at WrestleMania, a casket match, but he's never really done much else. I mean, he doesn't seem to wrestle too much on Raw, but he's one of those guys in WWE that's great to have around if you want a storyline, if you want a big guy there, or if you want to give him a push. He's one of those guys that's always been there for that kind of thing. And his World's Strongest Man gimmick, or whatever he had, was was a decent gimmick. It's something that WWE could use. They just never actually used it and never actually tried pushing him. Only on occasions, but it wasn't really a push for very long. So as far as I'm concerned, if he wants to retire in 18 months, then he can very well retire in 18 months. I don't think WWE will miss him too much, but the thing is, he's one of those guys that we've still got from the Attitude Era, and it's always a bit upsetting to lose someone from the Attitude Era, especially since that was probably arguably one of the best eras we've had in WWE. But overall, it seems like about time. It seems about time now he's retired. He's obviously in the wrestling business. He's obviously been in the wrestling business quite long, and has obviously done a lot to his body. It's probably beat up, and he's probably fed up with the travelling as well. So, I wish him luck in his future endeavours and what he's going to do if he does retire in the time he's told us he will retire. Also, we've had the big news, the biggest news story of the week is that The Rock. The Rock has said in an interview that he's open to wrestle again. In previous interviews he's done with people, he's said a big no to wrestling, saying that he's going to be concentrating on his movies. But in this particular interview, he said that he was more open than he ever was to wrestling, and he thinks that he could handle the movies and the matches and stuff like that. It would obviously be a part-time job if he came back, but I'd love to see The Rock back wrestling a couple of matches. I mean, I know he's not wrestled for 7 odd years, and you know that he's part of an attitude, and we're trying to move on with our current product. But he could add a lot. You know, I think it's very obvious that he could add a lot to the WWE if he did come in and wrestle the odd match. I'm sure every member of the YWC wants to see a Rock versus Cena match. You know, The Rock could be a great guy for putting young talent over. And, you know, if you get him working on a part-time basis, you know, he could do a lot. He could really draw in for the WWE. I mean, Cena recently said in an interview that he would do anything to wrestle with The Rock. And who can blame him? You know, anyone would want to wrestle The Rock. He's a legend in the WWE. That is just how it is. So yeah, I mean, that's some really good news. I'm really, you know, when I saw that news, I was marking out a little bit. I just thought to myself, God, could we see The Rock once again in a wrestling ring? You know, it's looking more likely than ever now. But you know, it might be a rumor. I mean, to me, it seems highly unlikely because I don't see why I'd want to go back to a WWE schedule, or even if it's part time. But you know, if he wants to do it and if he wants to do it and he does it, the fans will be so pleased. That's all I can say about that. I mean, look how much reception he got on his return. That just goes to show you how much the WWE universe loves The Rock and wants to see him back. And also a little bit of news on Awesome Kong. A lot of people have been saying, when's she going to debut? When's she going to come back? You know, she was brought into WWE when just on the road to WrestleMania, you know, Royal Rumble time. So they thought they'd introduce her after the Rumble, and it looks like they're going to debut her sometime in April. You know, how they're going to debut her, I don't know. I can most likely see her as the kind of bodyguard type, or lay call or something like that. But it's good to see we'll finally be getting Awesome Kong on our TV screens by April, because I think the Divas division needs that bit of a kick, and Awesome Kong can definitely give it that kick, so to speak. I mean, she could give some of the male wrestlers a run for their money. If you've seen her wrestle before in TNA, she's a huge woman, and she's the kind of woman that could dominate a Divas division. Maybe even do a China and be a mid-card person. Who knows? But it's good to see she'll debut soon. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what WWE got in store for her. Anyway, that's all the news topics I really wanted to touch on this for this week especially. I'm going to be doing my SmackDown review tomorrow, so definitely watch out for that. It does look like a decent SmackDown, so I'll make sure to review it. And also I'm going to do a video soon about my thoughts on WrestleMania 27 as a whole, like how well it's been built up, what I think of the card, things like that. It's not going to necessarily be a preview, but it'll be like my thoughts on the actual WrestleMania event itself this year. So look out for that. That'll be done soon, maybe over the weekend, maybe early next week. But definitely keep a lookout for that. And I've already plugged NJ. You gotta go check him out. He's an awesome WWE blogger. Like I said, I'll put it in the description box below. Also, make sure you check out my good friends 420 Goonie, Dreamboy899, and David Mania. Again, I'll leave their YouTube channels in the description box below. Definitely check their channels out. And that is pretty much. Oh no, wait a minute. No, I've got some more plugs from my own. You can catch me on Twitter at Daniel_Parkin, on my Tumblr at Daniel Parkin. And one last thing before I go, if you guys have any comments on the news or what I've said about the news, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you want to leave a video response, I am very open to video responses as well. So that's all I've got to say about that. So thank you very much for watching my videos, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.